On today's video, I'm going to be using these two computers in a way you might not expect, and then I'm going to be downgrading this Apple IIc and possibly breaking it. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, if you think I'm going to be using this computer to communicate with the IIc over serial via ADT Pro, that's not going to happen. This was running Windows ME. It's not compatible with the ADT Pro software without really diving deep and fixing some of the JavaScript. I don't have time to do that. I did try to do it and I started getting a headache. My eyes hurt. They started to bleed. I just said stop. So we're not doing that today. What I am doing with this computer though is I am using its composite input as a monitor. Obviously, anyone that's ever filmed anything with a CRT knows that you're going to get scan lines and they look horrible on video. Now, I could just pull out a monitor that has composite input, but, that's not flashy. This is flashy. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to jump cut so you don't have to hear all the horrible sounds of the floppy disk starting up. The game you see loaded here is Thexter. It was the first video game I had ever played as a kid, not including the Oregon Trail in first grade. But this game was significant. It was my very first computer, the Tandy Color Computer 3. The very first video game I ever had, and I was hooked. I was about 8 years old, Christmas of 1988, and I got a Color Computer 3, a video game, and I was enamored. I was learning how to code in BASIC from a book about that thick, and good old times. I'm old, I get it. But the thing that I really like about the Apple II is that I can relive a lot of those old games because a lot of them are cross-platform at the time. Now, as you can see, everything is running on this computer right here. Now, I was going to do a separate video about the game, and I could only fill about 3 minutes, and I've already talked about everything I can talk about. There's plenty of other videos out there that go over the game quite well. I just wanted to demonstrate the capabilities of running this over the computer. So the problem I had getting this to run is originally I had Windows 2000 on this machine and I could not get the video input to go. I ended up having to downgrade to Windows ME and then the software just worked. So concessions. What we're going to do today though, the main part of this video is I got this Apple IIc a while ago. And I cleaned it up, I fixed it up, I threw in an upgraded logic board that I had, so it's the 4th generation ROM. It's got pretty much a brand new board on the inside. I cleaned everything completely. I lubed every single key of that keyboard. It is not the Alps keyboard. It's the original keyboard that the IIc shipped with, and it was horrible. Now it's very usable. You can type on it, and every key works. There's no corrosion. I got lucky because the thing looked like it was sitting under a car for 20, 30 years. It was very filthy. Don't really have any video of that because I wasn't doing a YouTube channel back then. So what I do want to do though is I have on order the MacFX black case. That's going to be coming sometime between now and summer. Who knows when exactly, unless you're actually part of that production crew. So what I am going to do is I'm going to downgrade this back to the original logic board. When I bought it off the guy, he said that there's video artifacts in the board, and I never tested it for myself because I already knew I had a brand new board I could throw in. So I'm going to put this board in there. I have some donor parts that I got online so that I have enough parts to build 2 Apple IIcs once I get that other case. So I'm going to put these parts in as part of the test. I don't even know if these work. So I'm going to do that. Going to downgrade the board back to the original ROM. And hopefully it all works. Maybe it just needs a little TLC and I can get it working. Worst case, I'm going to do a whole other video where I fix the board. It might be a bad memory chip, cold solder joint, anything like that. So let's get started. First of all, I hate to say it, but gotta turn off the video games. And we're gonna put the laptop away. And right here, I've got the audio in, and on the back, I've got the composite in. So you got out, in, there's a dock for this as well that has S-video in and out, which is overkill for what I would be doing. The other downside I found is when I try to record video on this thing, the quality was horrible, and I was gonna make some decent quality screen grabs, and none of it was anything usable. It looked like a smeared postage stamp compared to video quality that people are pretty used to seeing. One of these days I'm gonna get a retro tank or Elgato or something that can capture the video better than, you know, what I have right now. But that's not a priority at the moment. So what is a priority is getting somewhat entertaining, somewhat informational video to you guys. So I hope I can do that. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Let me know. And yeah, let's get started with this without breaking it. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to carefully flip this over. Another thing I do need to do is I need to take all these screws out because I know they are not part of the Mac Effects case. So I'm going to have to source some of these screws. Maybe I'll get black anodized screws. That way everything just matches. I'm afraid to really push down as hard as I need to on this thing without putting my fingers under it. It's a little too late now, but what I should have done is got like a mat, but I'm being careful, I promise. Let's get the disc out of here. I don't need that getting all marred up. There we go. I'm hopefully not breaking anything. Now, if I recall, you got to get this over the I/O. So it's not the greatest thing to take apart. Right now, there's several people yelling at their screens because I'm doing it wrong. And I'm sure I could easily Google this. But I'm stubborn. There we go. So when I cleaned this before, I left this in. I didn't peel it out. So if you look at it at the right light, you can still kind of see the dirt in the grill. I think I did a fairly good job overall cleaning it. So, like I said, considering what it started out as, it's a different machine. So, here's what I have. I've got my original power supply. I've got the original logic board, the upgraded logic board, not the original. Original floppy disk and the keyboard, and I know all of these work. I've been putting it through its rigors the past couple days, getting ready for this video, and playing some video games on the side, making sure everything works. And it's been pretty reliable. So when it is time to do this swap, I know that I'm going to be able to do it without any real issues because everything works. So these two units here will go in the new upgrade that I'm getting once I get it. So the newest hardware, the newest ROM will be on the brand new case. The older original system will have these parts in there. Hopefully they work. I'm going to find out. So the only thing I didn't source yet was a speaker. I'll find one by then. It's probably not too difficult, I would hope. All right, the last time I did this, when I was in here, I took all the screws out at the same time, and the floppy drive came out with the top of the case. So that is why I held off this time. For how much I've been using this, I wanted to make sure that the belt isn't starting to crack. You know, it can look great sitting still for 40 years. Once you start using it, it'll start to deteriorate. That's just the nature of rubber and stuff like that, but it seems like it's still in good shape. So see how far that goes. Another thing I almost forgot about was getting these little things. I do have brand new ones ready to go for the new machine when it gets here. Now you do have to be careful getting this out of here. You don't want to send it home because you got a capacitor right there and some other electronic components that I can't remember the names of because I haven't done proper electronics work in over 10 years. Yeah, paid electronics work. There we go. So that is out. Then we got a handful of screws here to get this out. Okay, just have to disconnect the speaker. And get the screws that you forget. There's always one. That's why you don't just lift up. You kind of give it a little test lift, and if everything just pops up like that, you're usually pretty good. Do have to be a little careful getting this volume control and volume jack out. And there we go. So this is like a brand new board. Power connector is a little chalky. That plastic did age. Everything else on here though looks great. Even the capacitors, there's not a lot of them, but the ones that are on here aren't leaking. There's no bulging. I probably should replace them. It's on a to-do list, but everything's working. And as long as I, regularly inspect it every so often, I think I'm good. So let's put that down there carefully. I'm going to take my new hardware that I'm going to be using and carefully place this where it belongs. So red stripe goes towards the rear. So that's taken care of. I'm not going to forget that. Two little grounding washers. Now, this is all original Apple service packaging. Even have the little anti-static sticker. Make sure you got a wrist strap. I'm clearly using one on my ankle. So here is the original board. Capacitor looks okay. I do recall fixing one thing on here that I saw when I took it apart, and I just did it at the moment, was that this little connector came loose from the solder for the RCA jack. So that could have been the whole issue right there. I just wanted to use the new motherboard that I had. Logic board, it's an Apple product. I wanted to use the new Logic board that I had. As you can see, the differences here, and there are a few between the two. There's a whole circuit here that doesn't exist, and I'm sure it does, it's just moved, but these parts don't line up. There was something else, I forget exactly, but it's not exactly the same. Also, this has a memory expansion port. That I'm not going to have that option anymore, so this is maxed out at 128K. So this one can go all the way up to 1 meg. Amazing technology for 1984, 1985, whatever year it was. Well, that came out later because that was the later revision board. But yeah, I'm going to put this in, see what it looks like when I boot it up. The other difference was that the speaker connector was facing up on this one. That one, it kind of faces to the front. Not a big deal. I'm leaving this one out because when I go to the hardware store, I'm going to want one screw of each type so that I know exactly what I need. And then I'm not buying the wrong thing. So I'm just going to count how many screws I need. Get the right types. Go to Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever, and get my screws. Looks like the power supply is the same screws as the motherboard. Yes, this is the new one. Now, if I do end up repairing this board, what I will do is I will give it a good wash and then a good dry, and then just find out where it needs the most work. Find out what's bad, get some extra memory chips so I can just test all that out. Now these are the MT chips that Adrian's Digital Basement always complains about them being bad, so I wouldn't doubt that's my problem too. Just a high failure rate after 40 years. Alright, gonna go ahead and get the floppy disk back in. I don't think this screw belongs there at all. It's not like any of the others. So I am not going to reuse this one. Plus it kind of got stuck. The head got stuck in there because it wasn't quite the right size. So I think this screw is an imposter. All right, there we go. Mushy clickiness. It's not quite clicky. It's not the Alps keys, but the new one will be. Now before any damage gets done, I'm going to go ahead and put this away. And while I got it out, the RAM looks like it's NEC RAM, which is nice. Completely different layout than the other board, which, you know, it is several years newer. I'm going to put these in here and hopefully not forget all about that when I'm looking for them, wondering why I can't keep anything organized. These are my known good parts. If I can manage not to drop them on the desk too hard. So let's get this handle back in. Whoops. Okay, pro tip, the handle stand doesn't do either when it's open. Okay. Where are you being difficult? There we go. That all clicks into place somewhat nice. Floppy drive's a little bit dirty on the outside. I wish I would have cleaned that before putting it together. But this isn't the last time this thing is coming apart. I got screws I gotta put back in. Alright, let's find out if it works. Got everything set up. I have not even looked at it yet to see if it works. I did get this computer booted up quick, so let me do a full screen and fingers crossed. Let's see what it looks like. Yep. Yeah, there's some artifacts I see already. It doesn't like that floppy drive either that's in there, so that's something. Maybe that floppy drive doesn't work either. So that is going to have to be something I got to check. There's some characters that don't belong here, a little @ symbol there. Some little glitching going on. So this is definitely a second video. We got to find out what is bad on that board. Most likely RAM, just guessing at how it looks. I'm going to do a little close-up here so that you can see the characters I'm talking about. All right, right here, you see a little @ sign. You see like a spinning, whatever that is. A few little glitches up here look like sprites maybe, like if it were a video game. So there's definitely some problems in here. Like even the little H is a little glitchy on the check disk drive. It definitely needs some work. So that is going to be a whole other video. Unfortunately, this one doesn't really have a good memory test. It's the original ROM. I believe it does have a little self-test, but it doesn't really tell you anything. So I couldn't even test this if I wanted to. So I am going to dig around. I'm going to see if I can find some diagnostic software I can load onto a disk. And yeah, we're going to get this thing working. It has definitely got some issues. Alrighty, not quite a sad conclusion to the video because it is something I'm going to repair. I do love digging into this stuff, and it's more content because if there's anything I've learned from creating a YouTube channel is you run out of content. So that is going to be a future video. I'm going to start getting into this, figuring out what is bad. There's enough RAM chips on there. I might just swap them all. I think I'm going to give the board a really good clean. I'm going to throw some deoxit in all the sockets, and I'm going to see if that has any improvement. And then I'm going to get a few RAM chips and start swapping them. Even though I'll have to solder them all on, it'll be fine. It's not that many. It's a pretty basic board. So that's one approach. If you don't have the proper tools, just start doing Swaptronics. Not always recommended. If you start going into stuff and replacing it unnecessarily, that's where you can also break things. Once again, your mileage may vary. If you're really good at desoldering and soldering on chips, go for it. But even the guys that really know their stuff prefer not to really mess with things if they're good. So you only want to remove these things when they're bad. And that is a bridge we're going to cross soon. So thank you for watching this episode of me downgrading and breaking my Apple IIc. Take care, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Please, let's make this channel bigger. I appreciate all the views. Thank you very much. Bye.